What is a good lens for live streaming? Well, luckily, you'll know I have been live streaming for a long period of time. Over on Amazon.com, I do live stream every day about cameras, products, and I've done a number of live streaming shows which can go up to 2 hours. I'm going to show you the lenses that I've used, which ones I like, why I like them, which ones I don't like, and more importantly, the lens I'm using right now. Obviously there's two cameras here. I've got a camera up here, I've got a camera over there. So this was my beauty of a lens, 24-70. It's a good lens at 24mm because it gets a nice wide view. So if you're not familiar with lens numbers, think of it like this. The first number is how wide it goes, which means how much you can see. The second number is how far you can focus or zoom. So there is an element of playing with this. There's not going to be a right answer for everybody. You might have one lens that you want to use for cooking. For example, if you're doing a cook show, you're doing some crafting, you want to show loads of information around you, you might want a certain lens. But then you might want an intricate lens for something like, say for example, I want to show, oh yes, let's have a look at that. What is that? Or let's have a look at the writing there. So all of these are little things that you can play with. And luckily, when you're recording and you're making videos, especially if you're live streaming, you want something that's going to be easy to use, lightweight. Because let's think about it. If you've got this behemoth, it's like quite heavy, so you're going to need a tripod, which is going to be intense. I've used the kit lens. Kit lens being the 18-55, the small lens you get in most cameras. Is it a good lens? It's all right. Why is it just all right? Firstly, the numbers are okay. It's 18-55. If you remember, this one is 24. This one is 18. So 18 means we can see a lot more. But sometimes that's too extreme because I've got two monitors here. And if I put the 18mm lens on the camera now, you'll see all of these monitors, which looks a bit like all the mess you'd see that you don't normally see. So I want to focus you on all the nicely tailored bits. So you can see like a nice background blur. And that is because the lens I'm using right now is this lens here. I am actually testing it out. It's a Yongnuo YN35mm f2. You'll remember if you saw some of my early videos, I used to use the 50mm 1.4. 1.4 was a lot more blurry background than this, but everybody used to ask me, why is your background so blurry? Are you using a green screen? Is it a fake background? When I use the 1.4, which would be my Canon 50mm 1.4. So I thought, you know what? I keep getting asked that question. So maybe I'll put another lens on, which is not as bokeh. They call it bokeh when it's like nice background blur. So I do f2. It's like a reasonable grind, mid grind. It's blurry back there. Yeah, for example, you can see the stuff on my shelves. So it is blurry back there, but not as blurry as it could be. So sometimes blurriness is not everything and everything. Sometimes you want sharp photos, you want to see detail, and then you might want to use a lens with a zoom on. So see how that looks compared to like a normal non-zooming option. So 24mm is like a good number to be at. It's got 18 and you got 55. So it's got a zoom feature. Some lenses don't have zooms. This one does not have a zoom. It will stay at 35mm. There's a difference in build quality, which I'm testing out. And also I'm noticing when I put this lens on, it auto corrects exposure, even though it's not set on automatic exposure. So I'm testing that out to see how much of this would work. But overall, if you're live streaming and you're looking for lenses, if you've got a zoom lens, it's a good idea because you've got the option to go wide or zoomed in, and you can do that with one camera without having to change the lens. You've got additional camera lenses which have different apertures. So this one, the kit lens, is not as blurry because if you notice these numbers up here, it's 3.5 to 5.6, whereas the behemoth is 2.8, and like we looked at, this one is f2. I might do like a full explanation video about all those numbers to let you know what they mean and why some numbers are more important than others. It's like not a basic, but like a beginner course. Aperture, shutter speed, ISO, the basics of like photography. If you're not doing photo or video with DSLRs, you might be using cameras, iPhone camera, things like that. They automatically do all that for you most of the time, unless you go into a pro mode and then they give you like a view of how that would look. But it doesn't compare to like actual DSLR cameras where they manually, you can expose and do that yourself. So that's a realistic view. So this is a quick view of this. I will put you towards another course that I designed, which is 6 separate chapters of basics of cameras, so that help you get onto that, and I'll see you on that video.